What's cracking, everybody? XehrFelrose here, bringing you some Pokemon Go Battle League content. Today's video, we're taking a look at my strongest team for the Great League in the season of Max Out. We are going to be taking a look at this team that has been so good for me and my Discord members, and the team features a lead of Serperior. This is my favorite grass-type Pokemon, and in the current meta, I feel like it has the perfect mix of bulk and coverage to be able to handle a large amount of threats and have good neutral play into a lot of things. And we're going to be backing up this team with a couple of things that take care of two of the hardest answers to Serperior, and that is going to be Fire and Flyers. And now Fire is sort of, little here and there, but we're going to be utilizing a Dugong and Dunsparce, and the reason why this team works so incredibly well is because both of these Pokemon in the back can be utilized as a safe switch or a closer depending on the opponent's Pokemon in the lead. This team in general just has such good synergy with two anti-flying Pokemon that can cover your Serperior very well. If you don't have a Serperior, you could use a Jumpluff if you like. And then maybe you want to change the Dugong for something like Diggersby. I've also used that team as well, a team from Taffy Star, very strong team. But Dunsparce is just going to be that one Pokemon that just shuts down a lot of Pokemon in this meta and is very strong. And I'm going to show you guys as soon as I can find the play button on this. So we're going to get into the battles here with our first game being against a Poliwrath. Now, I have seen Poliwrath in the back in a few teams. I've also been very happy to see it in the lead here with Serperior. Opponent comes in with a Steelix, though, and in this case, I don't have a hard answer to. I could come in with my Dugong, but what I'm going to do here is I'm going to chip with a Frenzy Plant, but the opponent actually decides to go for a Shield here, and I'm thinking maybe I let them take a charge move and just throw it into my Serperior here, and then I'm going to come in with my Dugong, as that would be technically my next hardest answer. And if the opponent's packing Crunch, they're not going to go for Psychic Fangs or Breaking Swipe, then I'm pretty comfortable here that I'm going to be able to take care of the Steelix with my Dugong and be able to deal with whatever's in the back with my Dunsparce. So Serperior here is still looking very good into this Poliwrath, but unfortunately they're able to swap in because I waited such a long time to swap. The switch clocks were so misaligned that the opponent now gets to get pretty much a free full counter down of my Dugong. So I'm going to bring back in my Serperior. I get denied because the game works is great. Always works. Game works just great. And then we're going to be able to go for his Aerial Ace here just before the opponent. I don't remember exactly how many counters they got, so I'm just going to play it safe, go for the Aerial Ace here. Minimal amount of energy for the opponent. Now they're going to come back in with their Steelix. I'm going to go into my Dunsparce here, and I'm going to try to threaten this Steelix with a couple of drill runs. And the opponent actually ends up sending in a Bastiodon, so we get the first battle of this video, dicking on Bastiodon, because that's what we do. Anytime this thing is on my screen, I do everything in my power to get rid of it. And Dunsparce is going to be out here doing almost no damage with these rollouts, but bulky enough to withstand a Stone Edge. And I'm going to let this go, hoping that this isn't going to be enough to knock out. We're going to get the double drill run here. The opponent's going to be forced to shield something. Either they give up the shield for their Basti, or they give it up for the Steelix. But I'm actually going to come in with my own Serperior here, and I'm going to go for an Aerial Ace. I don't even know if this knocks out, to be honest. Double resisted Aerial Ace does do enough, and the opponent is going to be forced to shield this Aerial Ace, and my Dunsparce has a shield and a move loaded already. So we're going to be able to lock in this first game here, and the opponent not even going to be able to get the farm down as Serperior's bulk presides, and that's going to be a good game. Also, get your Bastiodon the heck out of here. Oh, get your Poliwrath out of here, man. I'm tired of seeing that Pokemon. I really am. We get a next game here, and we are just loving these leads. Azumarill in the lead in the next game, and I've seen a lot of Azumarill leads, a lot of water leads, so Serperior is very solid here. And the opponent banks a move and swaps into Dugong. Now, this is a dangerous move for them because we still get to a Frenzy Plant before they can get to any charge move, so I can simply go for a Frenzy Plant, get the shield here, and I can come in with either my Dugong or my Dunsparce. I kind of expected this to potentially be a bait out for my Dunsparce, so I'm actually going to come in with my Dugong since the Vine Whips created enough of a difference in HP that I can safely come in and win this matchup if I need to maintain switch advantage. I've also seen the team Azumarill, Dugong, and Alolan Sandslash quite a bit. So that's what I was expecting when I saw this. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to shield up my Dugong, and I'm going to bring in my Serperior and try to go for a farm down. The opponent just threw a play rough here. We get the farm down just before they get to the move. Serperior has done this for me several times. The opponent triple weak in this case to the Serperior, and that's a good game. You cannot understate the importance of Serperior. Now, this thing, dude, speaking of Primate, y'all saw on the news update that they were going to nerf Rage Fist to make it slightly more energy. Since then, they have removed it from the blog post, meaning they may keep it as is. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about that, but the Primates, unfortunately, like for me, Primate chews through this team if it gets a good amount of energy, which it can by, you know, swapping in on pretty much Dugong or Dunsparce and just getting close combats off. Like, if they land a close combat, it's a bad time. Now, opponent is shields down here, and because it's a Spark Lantern, like, I don't know what season this trainer is living in, but they're going to go for a Lantern safe switch here into... and my Dunsparce is going to come in and deal with this. Now, I'm going to go for drill runs here. Serperior really does well here if I had the HP for it, but fortunately I don't. Thankfully, the opponent did decide to completely empty out their energy here with a Surf, and that's going to mean I can max out my energy. And what my main goal here is to try to keep a move ready for the Primate that is in the back, but the opponent now comes in with a Skarmory. And I'm like... I'm sitting here like, why? Why are we still playing these Pokemon, dude? I don't understand this in the least. I get that they're like the team construction is solid, like they're playing a fighter that and two things in the back that are good against flying and decent enough against fairy, but man, just and shielding that Sky Attack, I thought they would go for the Brave Bird after I go for that Icy Wind, and now they're gonna go for the Brave. That's fine. Brave Bird, I miscounted. I was going to try to throw before they got there, which is why I threw on alignment there, but unfortunately, I don't remember the counts because after Steel Wing got nerfed, I didn't bother to memorize the counts for it anymore. Opponent's going to be coming in with the Lantern. I'm going to be trying to get to a move on my Serperior, but the opponent throws their energy, or I can get to one, but everybody's low. I need to make sure that I have moves banked on both my Pokemon. I'm coming back in with a Dugong. The opponent comes in with their Primate trying to snipe down, but we're going to be able to get the drill run off, and we have a move on the Dunsparce here. As long as we don't get the one-turn lag on bringing, we can go for a charge move. It doesn't matter which, and I opt to go for the Rock Slide just because. Get your Lantern out of my face, man. Get out of here, you stupid fish. Get out of my swamp. Very good game of that trainer, though, despite the weird team that they brought. Very good game. Very well played by them. So, Serperior in the lead in the next game against a Diggersby. The opponent comes in with a Clodsire safe switch, and this is an interesting idea of running an ABA ground team like this. But honestly, Clodsire is just so solid that you don't have a whole lot of issues, except for being ABA weak to Ice. Now, I'm going to come in with my Dunsparce here because I don't know if they're packing Stone Edge, and I'm not really looking to find out. Typically, if you see a safe swap Clodsire, they're probably packing Stone Edge. Excuse me. So we're going to be going for drill runs here. It does take 2 Earthquakes and some Poison Stings for the opponent to be able to get the knockout here. And I can, honestly, I'm thinking about shielding here. I don't know what's in the back, but I want to try to see if I can get a shield off of my opponent and just see what I can do. And in this moment, I'm going to go for the drill run. If the opponent shields, I know I can get to another one, but they let it go. And they come in with a Diggersby. And I have a thought here, and I'm like, man, I don't know what it was, but just something in my brain was like, Dunsparce might be important. Let's save it. Because, think about it. We have Dugong and Serperior. Both are very good into the opponent's Diggersby. So we're going to safe switch into the Dugong now and try and see if we can draw out the opponent's Pokemon. And we draw out the Talonflame that's sitting in the back. Now, if the opponent had tried to win switch there, they would have actually been able to get the Talonflame on my Serperior, which would have been very difficult for me to overcome here. It just would have had to been Dunsparce and Dugong against the world, but they would have been, I think it would have been. But anyway, I could save a shield now. My Dunsparce is 1 away from a move, and if the opponent does not know that, we'll be able to just simply knock out the Talonflame immediately. I'm not going to let the switch timer go down. I want to be able to lock in this Rock Slide here against the Talonflame. And then it's Serperior at full HP just about against a Diggersby with some energy, but we got a shield, so we can easily just go for a Frenzy Plant. That's probably going to be enough, if not just about, to be able to take out this Diggersby. The opponent knows it, and they're going to concede. That's going to be a good game. Well, getting into this next game, we got Serperior on the lead versus Feraligatr. You love to see. I'm telling you, there's so many water leads, and Feraligatr very commonly has something like Mandibuzz or Clodsire behind it. They're very strong Pokemon to pair with a Feraligatr. Now, I'm always fearful of the Ice Beam, And I really don't need to be, but I'm thinking in myself, I'm like, man, there is no way that they don't throw Hydro Cannon here. And it gets me every time. I'm telling you, it gets me every time. But we're going to be able to fire off 2 Frenzy Plants, so I'm hoping I get the shield back here. I should be able to. Otherwise, I can go into my own Dunsparce if I need to preserve my Serperior. But the opponent actually just lets it go, which is fine with me. And then they're going to have a Mandibuzz, and I immediately switch into my Dunsparce, trying to make it difficult for the opponent to bring in their Feraligatr. In hindsight, I should have come in with my Dugong. Would have probably been the better play here, but my HP is so high on Serperior, and if I can somehow get rid of this Mandibuzz, it's going to put my opponent in a very tough spot, because even Dugong with that Drill Run from the range that Feraligator's at should be able to deal a significant amount of damage with that Drill Run in order to knock it out. Dugong is looking pretty good here for the end game. Serperior is definitely in a supporting role, but I can use it more to pressure the opponent into making certain moves. Just like this, we can force them to throw all of their energy, and at this point, bait me if you want. This is fine with me. Ice Beam, gonna do a lot of damage, gonna knock out that Serperior. Boom! But we have a full HP Dugong, and I'm just going to bring in my Dunsparce because they have no fast move pressure against my Dunsparce with this Shadow Claw. I'm going to bring in Dunsparce here, go for as many rollouts, drill runs, get the shields as I can. Every single move takes them lower, and I don't need a shield for Dugong to be able to win this game. So I'm going to try to go for a farm down opponent. Not going to let it happen. They come in immediately with that Mandibuzz now, but it's too little too late, unfortunately. The Dugong has so much HP, we can simply swap it in, farm down, go for a drill run against the opponent, and they're going to be looking to go for a last-minute move just to get some damage in. But Dark Pulse not going to come close to doing enough, and we have the move ready for the opponent's Feraligatr, and they will concede. That's a good game. Oops. Getting into the next game, we've got Clodsire on the lead. Now, in this case, it's hard to say which one it's going to be, if it's going to have Stone Edge or not. Sometimes I tend to bring in Dunsparce here, just because it's hard to say for sure whether or not we are going to see the opponent go Stone Edge, or if they're going to have Sludge Bombs. Hard to say, but the opponent comes in with a Primate that goes immediately for the close combat, and I shield it first because I'm like, well, if I'm going to take this Rage Fist, I might as well shield it before it gets Icy Winded, right? But they go for the close combat. I was hoping they might go for a Rage Fist, and I was going to be able to live it, but I mean, I could have really just 2-shielded and won that matchup. Opponent's going for their charge move. If they have the close combat loaded at this point, so be it. I am already so far behind in this game. They have the close combat. All right, fine. I'm going to go for a Frenzy Plant on my Clodsire, and I need the opponent to be incredibly weak to Dunsparce in the back, so I'm going to bring in my Dunsparce here, and the opponent does have the Feraligatr, and I'm thinking to myself, man, this could be playable. But the way it plays out, unfortunately, I don't know that I had a win condition here, just because the pressure from the Shadow Feraligatr, even though Dunsparce technically does win the one-shield scenario, I can't really give up a shield here, because by doing so, then I open my Serperior up to a potential Sludge Bomb, which you can't really do. So I'm going to try to farm this down, and if I think I can, I'll shield, but I don't think I'm going to get that farm down, so I have to let this go. Let Serperior be the one to try and close this game out with 2 charge moves, but the switch clock is up for the opponent. They're able to immediately bring in that Clodsire and put the pressure on. I have to shield this move. I'm hoping it's a Stone Edge. Maybe I have a chance to get to a second move, but they have so much energy already, they're going to be able to get a second Sludge Bomb and knock out Serperior. Fortunately, not going to be able to take that game. Got quite a bit hard countered in pretty much most facets of that. Did as good as we could, but we're still going to be able to pick up a 4-1 just in case we... Just in case of what? Picking up a 4-1 there, even though we got hard countered, and we get the next game into another Karate Chop user Machamp. Now, most of the time, the opponent will swap and try to catch the Aerial Ace, so I went one over, but they went for the Cross Chop here. I know for 5 Karate Chops, it's only ever going to be either a Rock Slide or... So, I'm fine with just letting that go and going for shields here. Opponent getting me very low, though. Unfortunately, I have to commit my Serperior in order to take out this Machamp. Opponent gonna go for another Cross Chop, and then they bring in Clodsire, and I'm like, all right, I'll bring in my Dugong here. But again, most safe swap Clodsires are gonna have the... They're gonna have the Stone Edge. And at this point, I'm like, I can't shield this. I can't shield it. Because the Machamp has a move. and it's going to knock out my Dunsparce. It's going to knock out my Serperior at this point, so I have to save the shield. This is why I've had a really rough time just in general with the Primeape and the camp with this team. It's unless you just happen to be able to line up that Aerial Ace and knock out the Machamp or the other fighter, it's really quite difficult with this team. So that's pretty much the one main weakness to this team. Outside, you know, just the fighters in general that have come out of the woodwork. I'm just going to concede here. I have no hope of winning this game. It's going to win. Next game, the game script flips on its head, and we get a Gastrodon on the lead. The opponent safe switches into a Dugong. We can get the Frenzy Plant off as soon as we get it here because of the one-turn swap the opponent took to get that Dugong on the field. We're able to go for 6 and go for good timing, and that's going to be good situation for us here because we can get a free shield, come in with our Dunsparce, and start applying this really good, super effective pressure with Rock Slides and Rollouts here. And the opponent really doesn't have a good chance here to flip switch, and they actually decide to shield twice. They really want to see if they can flip switch, and I'm not shielding this next move either. I don't need to. I don't need to shield until the next Icy Wind here because I know that the next one would be able to either knock me out or put me in a range where I'm going to get farmed down by moves, and I'm getting... I mean, they still were 2 moves is enough. There's no need for me to overcomplicate this. I just do win switch here because, you know, Serperior is just so freaking good into these water ground types, these mud slappers in general, which is one of the main benefits that I like it so much, is because it's just so good into a typing that so many people decide to bring. We are able to get this drill run off, but thinking about it, I shouldn't have been able to, so it doesn't end up mattering in the end of the game, but it's just a little bit silly that, you know, it's the inconsistencies of this game are just continuing to cause problems. Opponent not able to either, you know, doesn't bring in their Mandibuzz right away or chooses to wait, but Mandibuzz is going to get met by the Dugong. The opponent concedes. Game. Next game, we got the nice lead here. Azumarill on the Serperior. Opponent immediately safe switches, and I thought it was going to be a Dunsparce, but instead it is a Double, and I'm thinking, oh no, I can't really swap here. The opponent does shield. If they had no shielded, I could have safely pretty much come in with my Dunsparce here, but because they're not, I have to play this out. So I have to say, okay, I have to sacrifice the really good matchup I have with my Serperior. I have to use my Serperior to get rid of Double, because Double is a bigger threat to my backline than the Azumarill is to my Dugong and Dunsparce. So opponent gonna put up both shields here, but they're looking for the overfarm and they cannot get it. We're gonna be able to outpace them. It is 6-6-5 to Frenzy Plants, knocking out the Double, and the opponent cannot bring in the Azumarill, so they're now gonna bring in a Walrein, which is what they had stashed away in the back. And I could have brought in my Dugong here, but I'm going to bring in my Dunsparce because it's able to apply more pressure and more neutral damage to the Azumarill here, which they do decide to bring in. I figure at this point, my Serperior can either get a Frenzy Plant off, or Dugong is pretty close, you know, they're pretty close to being within range of a drill run on their wall. Imagine at some point we'll be able to get that damage off because Dugong is just so bulky that we should be able to get it in. I'm going to let this go and immediately switch into my Serperior, try and get some energy and force the opponent to make a decision. Do they throw the energy they have on the Walrein? And they do immediately. I'm going to let this go. I think it's fine. I could even bring in my Dunsparce here and start to apply more pressure. We have those Rock Slides, going to force them to throw the rest of the energy that they had taken that time to get, and they're going to be letting loose the rest of the energy. I can go for a super effective Rock Slide here and put a ton of damage into the Walrein. And at this point, the game is pretty much over, as Dugong will be able to simply farm down from the range that they've got their Pokemon at. They are going to be forced to go for an Ice School Speed. And unfortunately, the shiny Walrus, as pretty as that shiny is, not going to be able to put up much of a fight in this current meta here. Fortunately, going to go down, and that's going to be a good game. Well played to the opponent. And we're going to slide into the next game with another amazing Azumarill lead. I'm telling you all that Serperior is the sauce right now, and the opponent is apparently core broken and not able to switch out safely into something that would be able to have a positive or even neutral matchup in a Serperior, and they just take the Frenzy Plant. They must be willing, they have to be willing to sacrifice the Serperior. I'm going to shield here because I see that there is value, and watch this. Once again, Serperior getting the perfect farm down against the opponent, and they have a Drifloon. I'm going to come in with my Dugong. The opponent has a Poly. This thing out of here, man. I'm so tired of seeing this thing. I really am. Really am. I don't know. But we're going to be going for as many drill runs as we can. The opponent going for a full counter down here, which is fine. Serperior is still pretty healthy. It can eat an Icy Wind if it needs to. But I will have to shield a second if the opponent does decide to stay in and throw that energy. But we have Dunsparce in the back for the opponent's Drifblim. I try to go for a move. I get one turn lag again, and then I try to wait. I try to wait and see, do they bring in the Drifblim to try to catch a move? I don't tap there. The game does nothing. And then all of a sudden they're throwing a move. So I didn't get to see, and that's one of the biggest issues that I have on iOS. Even though it runs the game much smoother than Android, it still has an issue where if you don't tap, it doesn't update the game. And it's hard to see if you're trying to wait that one turn to see what the opponent decides to do. Now they come in with the Dunsparce, and at this point, I should be good. I have 2 moves loaded. The opponent has absolutely no energy left onto their Poliwrath. All I need to do here is put myself in a position where I can take out this Drifblim and not allow the opponent's Poliwrath to farm down my Dunsparce. Because if they get a lot of farm, then they can go for another Icy Wind. I need to completely avoid that situation. So the opponent now is going to go for another move. I'm going to go basically farm back up to 2 moves here, throw the Rock Slide before they're going to be able to get to another Icy Wind, and then my switch clock is already up. I can immediately pivot into Serperior, and I don't have to wait for them to farm me down here, so that's exactly what I'm going to do. They have no energy. They threw 2 Icy Winds back to back. I'm going straight for the Frenzy Plants because I have them both loaded. I'm not going to play around with some little Aerial Ace. No, you're going to get the full power of the Serperior right in your face. Get out of here, you silly little dog-looking thing. I just don't like Poliwrath. Nothing against this trainer, though. Good game. Getting into the next game against a Shadow Gyarados LNDS player, a very talented group of trainers. I'm going to go for an Aerial Ace here after building up to the Frenzy Plant, hoping to get a shield advantage, and then I'm going to switch out into Dugong here to absorb energy if they throw it, and the opponent ends up farming up a little bit more energy, and they come in with a Dunsparce, and I'm getting countered, but I have a shield advantage. Now we're going to have to see what I can do, and my Serperior's energy here feels very important, so I'm not really feeling the need to try to win switch. Rather, I would like to try and maybe play this matchup out and let Dugong go down and end up getting a lot of energy on Serperior to be able to take into that matchup at the game. And that's going to be what is going to be pivotal, is that decision. Because now the opponent's Dunsparce is pretty low. I'm going to go ahead and let it go. I should have probably shielded. Honestly, I could have won switch here if I really wanted to. And I'm thinking that that was the best option, because the opponent now immediately pivots into their Gyarados, and I'm like, I'm gonna no shield this one just in case they end up throwing an Aqua Tail or get a crunch debuff. And of course, and I'm telling y'all, I got so many crunch debuffs this evening, it was insane. Like all but like 2 crunches that were thrown my way end up going, but we're able to get the damage registration on our side here. We're gonna get this Rock Slide off. The opponent's Gyarados is going down, and they have a Miltank and up a shield. I'm thinking I have a chance here with Serperior. As long as they don't land an Ice Beam, I'm okay. So we need to go for 3 Frenzy Plants a second to be able to take them out. Surely we can do this with the pacing of the opponent's moves with that rollout. Scary. And I'm shielding up here just in case they have a double nuke Miltank, which I have seen. And of course, it's a Body Slam. And at this point, I'm thinking, okay, hopefully I can get to a second move. If they have the chance to throw back-to-back Ice Beams, they might take it. Now they come in with the Dunsparce, though. And I have to farm this down, and I have to hope that the Miltank's not on a move. If it's at a Body Slam, I immediately lose this game. I'm going to go for the Frenzy Plants because, once again, I have 2 of them. I'm not going to take the chance on whether or not the Aerial Ace KOs. They shield, but it's a CMP tie, and unfortunately, game is not going to work out in our favor here as the opponent get that Body Slam off. Very close game. Well played to the opponent. Loving the spice that they've brought, but we're able to go 3-2, and a lot of the losses I had with this team, they weren't team comp issues. They were me having skill issues is what it really came down to. A lot of the teams that I faced, this team did very well into, and it was a matter of me making the correct decisions and playing properly against the opponents that I faced. So I can really recommend this team. It does very, very well into this meta currently, and it could be it could just be the sauce that you need to be able to push for that next rank. So let me know in the comments if you try this team and it does well. If it doesn't do well, I'll be sad, and I'm sorry. You can tell me about it if you want to. I won't be upset. But that's going to do it for me for today's video, guys. Thank you very much. Good luck on the push for the next for the rest of the week here, getting into next season. We're looking at a little bit of a move update. I'm going to try and see if I can find a better way to go over it, because everybody's just kind of regurgitating news at this point, and I'm trying to find a better angle to come at it from. So while I do that, I'll leave you guys with this. Thank you very much for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye.